A very good morning to all our listeners and welcome to this morning's edition of the Talk of the Town on Yes 101. Bringing you the Talk of the Town this morning for the Newsfirst team, I'm Jayamal Ratnaika. This morning, I'm joined by a guest who is no stranger to Newsfirst shows. She is Lihini Fernando, attorney at law, representing the Samagi Janabalavega and also former municipal councillor of the Morotua Municipal Council. A very good evening, or rather, a very good morning to you, Lihini, and welcome on the show.
Good morning, Jamal. Thank you for having me today.
So, Lihini, a lot of the politicians seem to be preoccupied these days with whether there will be a presidential election, a general election, or no election at all. But if you recall this time last year, all the rage was on whether the local government polls will be held. But now it seems like the local government polls have been swept under the carpet. And you are someone who represents local governments. You are a former municipal councillor and you understand the importance of that very administrative institution. So, enlighten me and also our listeners this morning on how important it is to hold local government elections as well as the other elections as well.
So, if you Sri Lanka was once called the epitome of democracy, and Southeast Asia's highest democracy, the country that exercises democracy, but and also sovereignty of this country is vested in the people. So, the people of this country must have the right to choose its leaders. And how do you get that right? You get that right through your franchise, which is the elections, which is granted in the constitution. But however, it is sad to say that in this country, elections are no longer these are right to have elections, but are the elections actually happening? There's a lot of ambiguity around it. This year is declared to be an election year, and it is the year that we will have a presidential election, but then there's so much of talk that is going on when it's going to happen, whether it will happen or whether it will be a complete change in the system.
Right.
And also people have completely forgotten about the local council election as well, which was supposed to happen in 2023. And local council is the system that connects with the grassroots levels of the people, and there are certain designated authorities, designated functions that are to be performed by the local administration, and to do that you need the local council representatives. But today the local councils have been dissolved, and there's no conversation of that sort of when it will take place. And we saw many political parties going to court, and court giving rulings saying directing the finance ministry to declare budgets, but then again there's no talk of it. And then if you look at the provincial council system, that is also long gone. So we are a three-tiered governing structure, but the LGs are not functioning, the provincial systems are not functioning. Yes, we have a parliament, but parliament, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa got the 2/3, but today it's not there. And the parliament also does not represent the people's mandate.
Yes.
And we have an executive who was never elected by the people, but who was appointed with 134 members of the parliament. So if you really look at the three tiers of governing structure in this country, people's mandate is not represented. Though we are a democracy, it's like an autocratic system, one leader controlling all of us. So which is a very sad situation. And here we are calling ourselves a democracy.
Right. So you're an attorney at law and you have a vested interest in the legislation that is being passed in the country. And over the past few weeks, we saw certain dubious and questionable legislation being passed in parliament and coming into law. What sort of a stance do you first personally have on all of these regulations and laws that are being enacted by the government? And what does the SJB plan to follow? What sort of policy does it plan to follow should it come to power in repealing such regressive legislation?
Actually, it is sad to say that we these leaders in this country are bringing draconian laws, and they want to hide away behind draconian laws instead of addressing the core problems in this country. If they are representing the people's interests, if they are doing what the people require, They don't need to bring in all these laws like the online security bill or the Prevention of Terrorism Act or the media broadcasting regulation and shut people's voices, shut people's dissenting views. Because in a democracy, it's a people's freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of association. Those are what is being given to the people, and no leader can control that. If you are a leader who respects the will of the people, you will want people to express their dissenting views, not bring in draconian laws and try to hide away behind that. It is simply of the fact that they know that they are not accepted by the people. They know that the people don't want them, so they think, this is the way of governing. Let me use force, use the army, use the military, use the police. Let me use my fist and control. But the leaders don't understand that the power of thinking, the power of voice is far more powerful. What I want to say is the leaders that we have who are running this country, I think, it is very old fashioned the way they are governing. They don't understand the young people's sentiments. They don't understand that we live in a digital age, that in a social media, we are in a AI world, AI era. So they don't understand. They are in a different utopia of their own, and they think, by bringing all these laws, let me try to control. But it doesn't work. It'll erupt in its own time.
Always the honest and genuine commentator, my guest this morning, SJB's attorney at law, Lihini Fernando. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk of the Town this morning, Lihini.
Thank you for having me.
And that's the way it was on Talk of the Town. Take care and have yourselves a great day.